Hello, thank you for joining me today. I wanted to talk about workplace and anxiety. Hi, my name is Era Abraham, and I'm the founder and CEO of Listening, a mobile app for people who want to receive notification to sounds requiring their immediate attention. So this topic today is all about workplace and anxiety. A lot of us are going back to the workplace after working from home since during the COVID pandemic. And this is really an interesting topic to me because I know that experience of going back to the workplace where things are going to be a whole lot different than what it was before. Before, where we had no masks, now we do have masks. And it's becoming a lot difficult to interact and engage with our coworkers and our managers. So I am just apologize today for all the background noises if there is. Today is the long weekend here in Toronto, and there's the air show, so there's a lot of planes flying around, so I may be distracted a slightly bit today. But why I want to talk about this is because a lot of us are going back to the workplace, and it's going to be really, really, really challenging for many of us, particularly when we had our coping mechanisms and ways that we knew how to engage and interact with our coworkers. But that is all going to be thrown away, especially when hearing is going to be challenging in these environments. There's going to be a lot more social distancing and the face mask situation. We're going to be more challenged in stressful situations. And this is going to mean that our anxiety is going to go really, really high in these spaces. And we might have days that we don't really want to go to work. Now, I remember a time when this was somewhat my life without the pandemic and any situation, but I was working for a call center. And working for a call center when you're hard of hearing, it is one of the most challenging and nerve-wracking experience. I went into the job without telling them that I had a hearing loss. And so, because I really wanted the job before I go back to school, I went back to school for university. And during that time, I tried to figure out how I'm going to hack the whole situation to be able to hear the callers and this automated, it was an automated call system. And I would say that it was probably, there were days where I actually did not do the best, and there were other days where I excelled completely well and managed to get sales. But there are circumstances where I started to feel discrimination in the workplace, and I did end up talking to a supervisor that day about my hearing loss. So at the time I was working there, I had thought that I was getting what it called a positive criticism to help me with my role and my job. But what I come to learn later in life that it was mostly more of a discrimination. And in this situation, when you work in a call center, I would need to clock out every time you're not working. But during this time, I was getting criticism and feedback. I did not get paid for that hour because I was requested to swap out. And the woman who was supervising at the time took me to this boardroom, and she sat me down and wanted to basically coach me on how to pronunciate certain words that were part of the script when you worked in a call center. And I remember feeling such a huge humiliation, and but I felt at the time that I needed to honor this feedback as just a way to improve myself, to get better and be a good employee. And unfortunately, now looking back, I could see that it was not the case. And for one thing, for me to lose those hours and times and minutes, just to be able to have a conversation about performance evaluation and not getting paid for that goes against the rules of workplace, and everybody an employee working and spending time in the place should be paid for that. So that was one thing. And knowing that I had a hearing loss, because I did confront and just told her that she continued to make me feel that I was the problem. And the reason why I bring this story up is because we're going to be going to the workplace, and where we're not going to be able to hear well in certain circumstances, we're going to be looked upon as our hearing loss is the problem. And you got to remind yourself that this is not the case. Especially when you have an employer coming into you to talk to you about certain things that are related to your hearing loss, with something that you know that you can't physically change. So be mindful of the frustration that people put upon you for not being perfect in the way that they want you to be, and especially when it comes to listening, articulating, and communicating in circumstances. Many of us are going to make a lot of mistakes. We're going to probably do something that we're not supposed to do. We could be misheard something in the conversation. We might be in a situation where we are appearing to be ignorant and ignoring our coworkers, like we're not paying attention. We might be in another situation where we have to ask and keep asking, can you repeat yourself? I didn't get it. And that's going to be really frustrating for the other person on the other side. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we can power through these difficult situations. If you work in a workplace where there's opportunity to work at home, I would strongly recommend that, because there's so much advantage to working from home, where you don't have to deal with those little interactions that may essentially give the impression from an employer that you're not exactly performing to the standard. So you can use that to your advantage, because if it's true that all the studies have said that workplace and working from home has been a really good advantage in terms of productivity, you'll definitely be able to use that to your advantage to bring out great work to the employers that you work for. But I know not most of us are not in that situation or have that advantage of being able to work from home. And it's going to be a big challenge. But just remember that you're not alone in that situation when you're going in and you're feeling like you're being called out on and you're feeling diminished, that you're feeling small in many ways because of the way that you're being treated. Just know that this is only temporarily until we can get that mask off everybody's face and we can start lip reading again. But if that is not your strength, because I know some people might not be great at lip reading, and the whole situation is still a big challenge, use the technologies that are available to you, whether it's a speech-to-text application that you can engage into those situations. But don't settle for the situation where you go home and you're feeling really exhausted and really feeling stressed and don't even want to work anymore. It was something that you used to enjoy. Really all what I have to say. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to know that I understand what you're going through and the challenges that are going to be coming up ahead of us in the future of work world. But that you have people who are here to support you, and to reach out and comment below if you ever experience that, and we know that we can work together on helping you find the right solution, so you can continue to enjoy the work that you do. So thank you, and until next time.